For over a century, Canada has harbored a bizarre systemic weakness that foreign adversaries and economic rivals have quietly exploited. It is an open secret among economists. Canada is fundamentally fractured from within. Because of internal politics and archaic regulatory walls, it is often legally and logistically easier for a Canadian province to trade vital resources with the United States than with its own neighboring province. This economic balkanization costs the country billions of dollars every year in wasted energy and redundant systems. But a massive structural shift is underway. Prime Minister Mark Carney has just unveiled a sweeping domestic strategy that aims to completely dismantle these internal walls, doubling the national electricity grid and wiring the country together into a unified energy superpower. This isn't just an energy policy. It is a calculated geopolitical consolidation. Before we break down the aggressive chess moves Carney is using to force Canada's fractured provinces into alignment, make sure you are subscribed to the channel for deep, strategic analysis on the forces reshaping the continent.
Today, Canada is powered by many separate electricity grids, most of which aren't connected to each other. In many cases, it's easier to trade electricity with the United States than across our own country. And that fragmentation costs us billions of dollars. It means more power outages, expensive, duplicative infrastructure, and higher prices for Canadian families. It also means that many northern and remote communities aren't connected to the broader Canadian grids at all, resulting in energy bills that are 6 to 10 times higher than the national average. Fragmentation means wasted power, about 10 terawatt hours every year. That's enough to power 1 million Canadian homes for that year. Connecting grids in Europe is already saving nearly $80 billion a year, and the opportunity in Canada is just as significant. And that's why back in November in Terrace, BC, our government referred the Northwest Critical Conservation Corridor to the Major Projects Office. This is a project that will generate $10 billion in economic activity, that will connect northern communities and build a new clean energy corridor for generations. It will link Yukon's isolated grid to British Columbia's and the broader North American grid through the Yukon-BC Grid Connect, while creating that potential connection with Alberta.
Fixing a fragmented country sounds good on paper, but executing it requires surviving a political minefield. For years, regional standoff tactics, particularly from resource-rich Alberta, have stalled national infrastructure projects. Traditional leaders usually respond with either total surrender or explosive political warfare. But Carney is introducing a ruthlessly practical blueprint. Look closely at how he handled the high-stakes pipeline negotiations with Alberta. He didn't block the province's economic ambitions, nor did he give them a blank check. Instead, he tied federal infrastructure approval directly to strict national standards on methane and carbon markets. It's a masterclass in economic leverage. If you want federal backing to export your energy, you must first help build the unified national framework.
Prime Minister, you mentioned that tomorrow you're going to be announcing how your government and the Alberta government is advancing a pipeline. Can you tell us, is there a proponent yet? Have you settled on a route or some possible routes? And also, are you planning to designate this pipeline a project in national interest and then fast track it like C5 would do?
A couple of things. Thank you for your question. I mean, I'd like more of the announcements to come out tomorrow next to Premier Smith. I'll say the following though is that the MOU and the intention of the MOU has been that Alberta would advance, that there will be a private sector proponent for the pipeline, that the federal government has, well, I shouldn't say the federal government, it's an agreement, so we all agree on this, that there are multiple preconditions for that pipeline moving forward. It includes strengthening the carbon market. It includes the methane regulations that the minister helped put in place and have been put in place now. It includes very much the Pathways project moving forward. No pathways, no pipelines, so all those elements moving forward. But we're making progress, and it's a private sector proponent. Obviously, you can't designate something which has not yet been fully proposed. So that's why I chose carefully the word advancing as opposed to concluding.
This strategy marks a definitive departure from the hyper-ideological debates that have paralyzed Western politics for a generation. For decades, infrastructure announcements have been buried under endless legal challenges, provincial bickering, and symbolic climate targets that look great on paper but produce zero tangible infrastructure. When the mainstream press tried to trap Carney in the standard ideological debate over shifting timelines and abstract targets, he completely bypassed the trap. Watch how he anchors the conversation not in political rhetoric, but in raw logistical execution. He is actively shifting the government's identity away from policy manager and toward master builder, focusing on long-delayed corridors that have been stuck in bureaucratic limbo for over half a century.
Just going back to Najud's question, I think you said update to the targets in due course. Can you just expand on that? Are we going
due course is due course, Alex.
But we're changing our climate?
Oh, no, that's not what I said. What we are doing, and let's be clear, and this is the approach of this government, is we are focused on investing to get results. We're focused on practical steps that are going to get results. It doesn't do us good to be sitting in court all the time with provinces. It doesn't do us good to be talking past each other. What it does do us good is to come together, specific projects. You know, in the end, these aren't words on a page. This is Russ, this is Sean, this is Frank and Francis and their colleagues going out and building things, connecting things, making progress. That's what we're focused on. That's what's going to deliver the results. What you're seeing today is the next iteration of a strategy that's all connected. It's connected with the workers to make it work. We know we need more workers, so we got a strategy to do that, which we developed with the unions, we developed with the provinces, we're putting into place. It means working with the provinces. This strategy is informed not just by the personnel that we have although it sure does help to have the former CEO of Hydro-Quebec, part of developing that strategy. So not just the personnel that we have in government, but the fact that we've been working with provinces and utilities and the private sector on some of these big projects. Think about the Northwest Conservation Corridor in BC. That's a huge opportunity to make the system more efficient. Indigenous ownership, conservation area the size of Greece at the same time, as all part of that strategy while we're making it. So, Alex, it's the emission reductions are the product of the actions, and the government is putting more focus on the actions, really rolling up the sleeves and making sure these are moving forward. And by doing so, it concentrates the mind on several things. One, what's holding up projects moving forward. I gave you the example of Contrecoeur, bouncing around for 40 years. Now it's moving forward. Mackenzie Valley, bouncing around for 60 years, 61 years. I'm 60. Well, I guess maybe I became sentient or whatever at 3 or 4, but I've literally been talking about it since then. That's pretty bad when your earliest childhood memory is the Mackenzie Valley Highway, but there you go. So really moving forward, and also the fact that we're focused on the here and now means that we think about affordability all the time. So how do we do this in a way that's going to be affordable for Canadians? Because that's what they deserve.
By treating internal fragmentation as a direct threat to national security, Canada is attempting to build a shield against an increasingly unstable global market. True sovereignty doesn't come from isolation. It comes from internal resilience. If Canada can successfully wire its provinces together, it ceases to be a collection of disconnected regional economies and finally becomes an integrated economic titan. Can Carney successfully bridge Canada's deep regional divides, or will provincial politics fracture this trillion-dollar blueprint? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and hit that subscribe button to stay ahead of the major economic shifts redefining North America.